Hey guys, 𝑹𝑬𝑨𝑳 here. In today's video, I will be telling you the story of the sci-fi drama film Bicentennial Man. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy the video. It is the year 2005 and the Martin family has purchased a robot from Northern Robotics to help them around the house. They name it Andrew. As it is a robot, its main purpose is to obey orders and do so without harming anybody. It also only needs to be recharged once in a while. The Martins have different attitudes towards Andrew. Mrs. Martin is uncomfortable with it following her around. The eldest daughter, Grace, is rude to it. Amanda likes it, and Mr. Richard Martin is happy with what he bought. He tells the children to treat Andrew as a person and not make any attempts to break it. Time passes, and Richard witnesses Andrew exhibit unique and human-like characteristics such as curiosity, compassion, and creativity. One day, he accidentally breaks Amanda's horse figurine. This disappoints her as it is the last model of its kind. After reading books on woodworking, Andrew carves a horse figurine and gifts it to Amanda, who he also calls Little Miss in return. She gives Andrew her stuffed toy named Woofy. Mr. and Mrs. Martin cannot believe that a robot like Andrew is capable of creating such art. In addition to this, Richard also finds Andrew listening to and enjoying opera music in the basement. Richard then brings Andrew with him to the Northern headquarters, hoping to hear the opinion of the CEO, 𝑷𝒊𝒏𝒐𝒐𝒕. Richard shows 𝒏𝒐𝒐𝒕 the pieces that Andrew has created. He tells 𝒏𝒐𝒐𝒕 that Andrew is capable of being creative and making friends. Andrew even used the word enjoy when he talked about carving. This is very unusual, and there may be something wrong with Andrew's neural pathways, according to 𝒏𝒐𝒐𝒕. He considers Andrew an anomaly and offers to pay an amount to Richard to make Andrew's case secret from the public. Richard disagrees with him and tells him there is no price for individuality. Richard tells Andrew that he should no longer focus on household chores. Instead, he will start pursuing his talent in creating something, making timepieces and clocks, as it is Richard's line of business. Richard also spends time with Andrew every night, teaching him lessons and imparting knowledge that the robot has not learned yet. This includes human reproduction and humor. One day, Andrew tells all the jokes he learned from Richard. When the Martins are eating lunch, he includes some inappropriate jokes, but this cracks everyone up. 15 years later, we see Amanda and Grace all grown up and, well, polar opposites of each other. We'd also see that Andrew has created so many clocks already. Richard brings up the idea of selling them, which leads to Amanda demanding that Andrew be paid for all the work he does. Richard goes to his lawyer and asks him to open a bank account for Andrew. Amanda tells Andrew that her boyfriend proposed to her, which Andrew respectfully congratulates. But Amanda is hesitant. She tells Andrew that she has this friend who she loves spending time with more than her boyfriend. Being the rational robot that he is, Andrew tells Amanda to marry her friend instead. Of course, this is impossible as Amanda is referring to Andrew, but he is not aware of such feelings. He asks her what her decision will be, and she finally says she will accept her boyfriend's proposal. Andrew does not understand why humans do this. Anyway, he is then invited to her wedding and is asked to wear a tuxedo. This will be Andrew's first time wearing clothes. At Northern headquarters, in addition to having his broken thumb fixed, Andrew requests to have more emotions added to his facial expressions as he wishes to convey more feelings. After Amanda's wedding party, Andrew replays Amanda and Richard's dance. This makes Richard emotional. Andrew senses Richard's loneliness and reassures him that he will always be there for him. 12 years have passed, and we see Andrew sitting by the beach with Amanda, who now has 2 kids. Andrew expresses to Amanda his desire to be free. Amanda asks him if he wants to leave the family, but Andrew says no, he is happy with how he is treated, but he also wants to have what humans have so long fought for. Andrew has read tons of books and learned a lot about human history. He realizes that freedom is valuable and wants to obtain it. Andrew tells Richard about this desire and buys his freedom using the money in his bank account. Andrew assures Richard that even though he will be free, he will still be with them, but Richard does not accept this very well. Amanda is accused of putting these ideas into Andrew's head, but she reminds her father that Andrew has become who he is now because of the books he read and the knowledge he acquired throughout the years. Andrew is an individual who can make his own decisions. The morning after, Richard gives Andrew back his money and tells him that he is now free and insists that he should leave the house as a consequence of his newly attained freedom. The 2 old friends bid farewell, but without affection. 16 years later, Andrew has built a home of his own by the beach, and an older Amanda visits him. She tells Andrew that Richard is looking for him. On his deathbed, Richard and Andrew finally reunite. Richard apologizes to Andrew for how coldly he treated him when he asked for his freedom. The 2 old friends now lovingly bid their farewells one last time. Andrew asks Lloyd, Amanda's son who is now a lawyer, to sue Northern Robotics for the information on the whereabouts of his fellow NDR robots. Andrew plans to seek each and every one of these robots to find if there is anyone who is just as unique as him. Lloyd sees this as an opportunity to get rid of Andrew, whom he has despised for so long, and helps him. Andrew goes on his mission, traveling thousands of miles and looking for someone just like him, but most of the NDR robots are not functional anymore or have been reprogrammed. At the end of his 10th year of searching, he finally finds one female robot in San Francisco that was rebuilt. This robot dances a lot, is attractive to Andrew, and looks like she has a personality. So Andrew follows her to Rupert Burns' factory/laboratory. Once inside, he sees non-functional NDR robots. He strikes a conversation with the female robot. Her name is Galadia. Andrew eventually realizes that Galadia's personality chip is turned on, making her just another standard NDR robot. Rupert Burns shows up and explains how he modified Galadia so she can dance. It turns out that his father was a former Northern engineer and was responsible for the technology that allows Andrew to mimic facial expressions. Rupert's father was laid off by North and Robotics and passed away later on. Rupert then took over the robot part replacement business. Rupert has successfully replicated a human being's physical appearance in order to give robots a more human-like exterior. With Andrew's funding of Rupert's research, he now has skin and hair and looks like a real human being. Andrew visits the Martins after 20 years and finds Amanda playing the piano, except she's not actually Amanda. She is Portia, Amanda's granddaughter. This confuses him at first because they look so identical, but he happily walks with the real Amanda and catches up with his dear old friend. Although Andrew has found himself a pet dog, he still feels lonely at times since he does not have any friends. He decides to visit Portia at her home, and the two strike up a friendship even though they did not get off to a good start back at the Martins. After some time, Amanda suffers a stroke. Andrew visits her at the hospital and finds the wooden horse he carved for her when she was little. She has kept it all this time. When she passes, Andrew feels pain but is unable to cry like Portia, and follow his heart he did. He sneaks up to Portia's engagement party with Rupert following him. After making fun of Portia's fiancé, Andrew realizes that he is indeed feeling jealousy, and this means he is in love. That night, Rupert says he can help Andrew finally acquire the sense of taste and the ability to eat and drink. He also adds that he can help Andrew become a complete man, meaning that he can have the male organ added to his body and can enjoy lovemaking without actual reproduction. It is 2 weeks before Portia's wedding and Andrew sees her again. This time, he begs her to do the wrong thing, to follow her heart and be with him instead. He knows that she loves him too. The two finally kiss and make love. Although she is now happy, Portia is still worried that if she marries Andrew, society will not recognize their union because he is, in fact, not a human. This prompts Andrew to file a petition to the World Congress to be accepted as a human and be able to marry Portia. In a world where humans are also using robot parts to live longer, Andrew believes that he is also human part, especially since he has a heart and can feel emotions. However, Andrew's brain is still positronic, and the Congress deems this unfair to all human beings, as he does not age because of his brain and is technically immortal. Many years pass, and Portia is now approaching her 75th birthday. Although she can have her life extended with the use of Andrew's inventions, she tells him that she still wants to grow old, how it is only natural for human beings to live for a certain time and eventually pass on. That is what makes life beautiful. Andrew realizes that he cannot live without Portia. Andrew makes a decision and goes to Rupert to have a blood transfusion, his final upgrade. This will allow his system to degrade and age like a human being in a few decades. We now see an aging Andrew again in front of the World Congress, pleading for the last time to be acknowledged as a human. When asked why he wants to do this, Andrew tells them that he wants to die with dignity as a man, not a machine. This has been the reason why he has lived so long. The World Congress considers this but asks him to wait for their decision. After quite some time, Andrew and Portia are on life support and lying beside each other, waiting for the World Congress verdict on Andrew's petition. Before the broadcast, Portia tells Andrew that whatever their decision is, it does not matter. The World Congress finally recognizes Andrew as the oldest living human being in history, as he is going to be 200 years old in a few hours, but Andrew does not live long enough to hear the good news. Portia believes that he did not wait in vain because he already knew the answer, that he is a human being and no Congress can tell him otherwise. Portia asks the nurse, who is Galadia, finally in human form, to unplug her life support. The movie ends with Portia holding Andrew's hand while she waits to see him soon. And there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more movie recaps like this. Good night.